Welcome to April and Debbie Dish the Truth on Weight Loss, where we share the raw, real, and sometimes messy truth about our weight loss journeys.
I am Debbie, a weight loss coach who lost 100 pounds and have been living in maintenance for 4 years.
And I'm April, a weight loss coach, currently down 60 pounds and continuing my weight loss journey.
Together, we'll explore the ups, downs, and everything in between, showing you that lasting weight loss is possible no matter where you are on your path.
Yes. And this week, we're going to talk about meal prep. Do I have to do it? Why do I have to do it? How can it help me? Will it help me? All the
And
questions.
all the questions, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for this. And this may not
Yeah.
just be a one episode podcast. We're gonna dip our toe into this because April is um, she is the queen of meal prep, and I know she's got a lot of great tips and tricks on it, and I can't wait to hear more. So tell us all the things.
Yeah. So we have been asked many times by multiple people to discuss meal prep. I appreciate the crowning of Queen Meal Prep. I always say I have been meal prepping before meal prep was cool. And if I only knew back then that it would become
Yeah.
what it is today, I could have had. But people used to tell me back then, like I could sell um my meal prep stuff, but that was not something I wanted to do. But meal prep. So I started years ago with meal prepping because I wanted to make my life easier during the week with work. I would come home from work because I was working two jobs at this time. So I would come home from work very tired and have little to no desire to cook anything. And so my story is meal prep used to take my whole Sunday. I would get up in the morning and my meal prep would go all the way to the evening. I like went dove in. I did breakfast, lunch, dinner. I did it all. And it was a production and it was exhausting. So would that be the way I would suggest people to start doing it? No, no, don't do what I did. Absolutely not. And there's so many meal prepping suggestions out there, YouTube videos, books, everything. But the big thing with meal prep is think about how it can make your life easier. Whether it does help in weight loss, in my opinion, because it reduces the amount of choices and decisions, more of like the decisions. So, like, if you come home after work and you're tired and you don't feel like cooking, or you haven't even decided what you're going to cook, now you have to use more brain power that you probably don't have left to decide what you're going to eat. Then you have to get the energy to eat it and clean up. It's a lot. So it really takes away that and it takes away the temptation to want to order out as much. Um, and not that ordering out is bad because you can use, takeout and meal prep as well. But really think about how it could help you and what's the best way it could help you, the easiest way, right? So, my first thing would be kind of to start small. And you could start small with picking one meal. You could start with having other people do more of it, like getting the rotisserie chicken. You can buy already, the frozen veg that goes in the microwave. Although I will tell you, see, this is the one reason I've been nervous to do meal prep because my brain is going to go everywhere. But frozen veg, my one thing that I will tell you, I absolutely love if you take frozen vegetables like broccoli or cauliflower and roast them. So the tip that I found out, I don't know who it was on the internet that I saw do it, but it's amazing. And you take your baking sheet and put it in the oven while the oven is preheating so the sheet will get hot. And then, you know, toss your veggie and whatever seasonings that you like, and then use a mitt, put the mitt on your hand because that pan's going to be hot. And I'm only saying from really bad experience of not doing that.
Oh,
Take
oh
the mitt,
no.
put it on your hand, and take the pot out, and then put the veg in the bowl with your seasonings, and then just pour the veg on it. It's going to sizzle, and all the ice and stuff will evaporate, so they don't come out mushy, and they will get roasty and
Oh,
really, really good. And it's super easy. So that to me, if you did that and you could buy the rotisserie chicken. Now the rotisserie chicken, I'm also have a little thing about because for me, I work on watching my salt intake because I do get swelling from too much salt.
Yeah.
So there are some places um that will the only one I can think of right now in my head is Whole Foods, but they do sell rotisserie chicken with no salt added. So that is the one that I bought when I would use it. But not everybody has that issue. So rotisserie chicken, that's already cooked. You have your frozen veg that you threw on a pan to roast. And then you can even buy, they have every vegetable I think is frozen at this point. They have sweet potatoes in the freezer. Aldi sells them. You don't have to go anywhere fancy. Aldi has sweet potatoes in the freezer section. They have frozen rice already cooked. There's so many quick things. So I invite you to think of that in the sense of like, what's the easiest way? One meal. Try to keep variety. So one thing that is helpful to me is say I'm having chicken all week for lunch, which is often the case.
Mhm.
um, I use different sauces and I don't need a lot of sauce, but there's a sauce that I buy that's a curry sauce. I can't think of the name right now, but just a little drizzle on top after I heat it up. So I don't coat it. I just
Yeah.
heat up the meal and then I'll like drizzle that special sauce on top. So it's 1 or 2 tablespoons drizzled over it, but it gives you a flavor that's different and makes the chicken different. Then the next day I might do barbecue sauce. And then the next day, like just a different sauce every day. So it's not, excuse me, the same chicken.
And you know what, while you're taking care of that frog in your throat, I'm learning. I'm taking notes over here because I'm not a food prepper or not a food prepper like you are. I do it in a different I do, you know what, and I was gonna say I do easy, but you are sharing here, keep it simple. So I'm are you okay? You're good. I'm
Yeah, I'm okay.
all right. I'm being an example of like all the thoughts that come up to fight immediately are coming up. This is too hard. I don't want to do this. Different sauce every time. That's hard. But you're telling us how it isn't hard. Like I never knew about the cookie sheet with the in the oven doing that first to make the roasted vegetables not soggy, to make them crisp. And I think like I wouldn't do that because I think, oh, they're going to be yucky, but here's proof that they're not. So be willing to try. Like these are things that you are showing us that you have done and work. And, you know, for those who are not huge meal preppers, like I am very, I never know what I want for lunch. So I like variety. So I will do different crackers. I'll do olives. I'll do salami bites. Like I like to make my version of an adult Lunchable. And, you know, some people might be like, well, that's not good. I don't want simple or boring. But you know what? For me, it's not. I love all of those things. So just make it your own. Whatever you like, do that. But look at the things that April is sharing here that we can try. The, just a different sauce. Like I always think the chicken has got to be cooked all the same for the entire week. And here's proof it doesn't. And you just add your own.
Yes, and I don't make the sauces.
Yeah.
So these are sauces I buy. Um, and the other thing is if you don't like sauce, buy different spices. There's Asian five spice, there's barbecue rub, there's all different spice mixes that you can find in the store. There's specialty, even at Aldi. I go back to Aldi, Dollar Tree. They have Cajun seasoning, all different kinds of different things. So each day you could sprinkle a different seasoning on your chicken. But I love that you talked about variety because that made me think of something with prepping. I do often hear people say, I want variety and I want to be spontaneous. I don't know what I'm going to have, you know, I don't know what I'm going to wake up wanting.
Hmm.
That's, that's very fair. At the same time, I invite you to think about a traditional month, even a week in your life of what you ate during the week. If you're a person who were, sorry, that coughing fit sent my mouth into, I can't
Oh
talk.
no.
But say you work 5 days a week. What do those meals look for that last 5 days last week? What did you eat? How different was it? I tend to find, if you think about it, you tend to gravitate towards the same types of foods on a regular basis. There might be occasional, oh, I'm in the mood for Chinese, or I'm in the mood for a burger, or whatever. That happens, and that's okay. And even sometimes I have gotten to a point recently, this is the third month, that I'm doing a dinner meal plan for the month, which has been amazing, which I can talk about later. But it really made me think about, like, for dinners, we often eat very much similar things week to week. We have what we like, but even though you've made a plan in terms of, say, you planned out your whole week of dinners, Wednesday comes and you're not in the mood for meatloaf. You want chicken. I don't know, because I can't think of anything else right now. Have the chicken, right? It's not a life sentence of what you have to do. It is a blueprint so you have a plan. So when you get home, you don't have to think about it. But if you think you want something different, that's fine too. I think flexibility in choosing things for yourself, just be mindful. So, like, say you had meatloaf on the plan for dinner, and you're like, I really want Five Guys cheeseburger and a large fry and a milkshake. If you're on a weight loss journey, you might want to think about why you're choosing to go so far off plan. If you come home and you're like, hey, we had meatloaf planned, but Thursday we have salmon planned and I'm really in the mood for salmon tonight, let's swap it. I would not worry about that.
Yeah.
Right. But the spontaneous factor, I think because when we hear of a meal prep or a plan, we feel like it's this lockdown situation, and it doesn't have to be. The other thing that's really helpful with prepping, if you're not a prepper by nature, is just starting with cooking extra when you're making something. So think about it this way: to freeze a meal or any food, if it's sold in the grocery store in the freezer, you can freeze it at home, right? So if I'm making meatloaf, for example, I'm not going to make one, I'm going to make two. And when I make the second one, I'm going to cut it up into portions. I'm going to wrap it up or vacuum seal it or whatever you want to do to really make sure it's as tight as possible, and put that in the freezer for another time. That's kind of like stockpiling options with no effort because you're already cooking. So just double it and freeze the doubled half. So that's an easy way to get it going, in my opinion, as well.
You know, a lot of people or some people might be saying, why are we talking about meal prepping? And as I've been sitting here listening to talk, I thought about Steve Jobs from Apple, who I read his autobiography, and I think maybe I've mentioned this before, but his closet, according to his book, was all black shirts and jeans. Like, we all know what Steve Jobs wore, but why did he do that? Because he didn't have to think. It's one less thing he had to think of. And how many of us on a weight loss journey have said, I am so sick about thinking about weight loss constantly. Well, food prep is helping you so you don't have to think about it. You think about it once on Sunday or whatever day you decide to do it, and it takes the thinking out of the way for you, if not for all your meals, at least your lunches or whatever you decide to prep. So, guess what? You don't have to think about weight loss because you've already set yourself up for, hey, I'm taking care of you. Here are your lunches for the week. They're all ready to go. And we talk about, you mentioned how I may not feel like meatloaf and I want to have salmon instead, and that again is the beauty of meal prepping, because You may not be doing chicken or pork for the entire week. You may have those options. And look, it's already there. And I think we fight so hard for why something isn't going to work for us that we forget to look at why it will work for us. So, as I mentioned, my brain was going crazy at the beginning, like, oh, this sounds hard, right? So immediately, why it won't work, why it won't work. But just as you've been talking and I have been listening to you, it's like, oh, well, look at the reasons that it will work and look at how I can make it easy for myself and look about how I don't want to think about weight loss all the time. Like the brain is already saying that, but then look at how doing this is going to make it so I don't have to. And I think that that really is is so important to notice. And then you also brought up the fact that, well, again, what if we don't want this? Well, because I like to have variety, but like you said, really, if we look at our entire month of eating, is there really a lot of variety in it? It's a lot of the same stuff, whether you go out to eat or not. Because when we go out to eat, we generally order a lot of the same stuff we always order. So, like, just remember that it doesn't, like, you may look at it as a feeling of restriction because you're planning ahead, but look at it as what it's doing for you. And if you look back at your plans, you are going to see you're really not as adventurous as you might think. Like our meals are pretty much the same. I go to they're just pretty much the same. We want to think they're wildly different, but not all the time.
Yeah, I agree with that. And in terms of, so when I meal prep on Sundays, it's for the whole work week. So I meal
Yeah.
prep from Monday through Friday, but Friday we go out to dinner for sushi. That's like what we do every week. So it's really 4 days and Friday breakfast and lunch. So my food tends to last the whole week. I think safety, people would say 3 to 4 days. I do let it last 5 days. I make my eggs on Sunday. They last until Friday. I have never had an issue with them not being okay. I package them all up in my containers and put them in the fridge for the week, and everything's been fine. But if you're not comfortable with that, meal prepping for 3 to 4 days, that's fine too. Anything, you can meal prep for one day, like anything, chop up veggies in advance, do anything that would make it be easier for the week. And fish, I will say as a disclaimer, I do not cook that in advance. But fish is so, if you like fish, so quick and easy to cook. In the oven, if it's salmon, you can put shrimp in the oven. You don't have to stand over a stove if you don't want to. 400, put it on a pan with some seasoning. It's shrimp is done in maybe five. I don't even know. It's so quick.
It's quick. Yeah.
It's so quick. And you could do a whole sheet pan with that shrimp, some onion and mushrooms. Boom, you're done. Or the salmon also. I think it's 400, and I think the salmon takes maybe 12 minutes. You just put the salmon on the pan, put your seasonings, 400. 12 minutes later, your protein is done. You throw in some frozen veg and some frozen rice or potato, or if you don't want starch, that's fine too. Just do your plate with the vegetables, but it doesn't have to be hard and you don't have to think too much. So when the weekend comes along, we do tend to make a little bit more involved dinner sometimes. I'll make a roast chicken dinner or something like that. He does a Korean dish that we love, but balance it, if there's something that you would have, and think about the things you do like to eat and think about how you can incorporate them. Like, don't say, if you don't like chicken, don't eat chicken. Like, do not make a meal that you don't like. I happen to really love chicken, and I'm very lucky because my husband smokes meats, so we get smoked chicken breast.
So yummy.
So good. He does smoked turkey breast. It just, we're very lucky. Here, I like to cook. He likes to cook. We're in good hands, one way or another. But simplify it. It's so easy. There's also tricks like, so I'm a big egg person. I know for my breakfast, I'm eating eggs. That's does best by me. I really enjoy them. There's always a way to make it easy. So if you don't want to cook at all, if you like eggs, they sell them already hard boiled. Every store has them. I don't particularly like them that way. The texture is a little different, but it's an option and it's there. So the other thing to make it super easy is there's a Dash brand sells an egg steamer, and I think you can do 7 at a time, and I'll post it in the Facebook page so everybody can see what I'm talking about. But it's this little dome, and you can crack all your eggs in these wells, and you pour some water and you flip a switch, and it's like 12 minutes later, it'll ding and let you know it's done. You have hard-boiled eggs. You didn't have to peel them, and they're done. You can make egg salad. You could leave them the way they are. It just, there's so many ways to make stuff easier. So if there's something that you like to make that you'd like an easy way to know how to do it, send us an email, do a Facebook post. I'll probably have an idea, or I'll find an idea for you. Yeah.
April, and you know what? I don't think I've ever asked you this, and I should know the answer. I think I do. Do you meal prep every meal during the week for the week, or do you just do your lunches? But it's lunch, dinner, everything.
Yeah, so Sundays, I'm at a point now because I've been on this journey for so long of meal prepping. It's definitely minimized. My
Yeah.
meal prep now, so like when I talked about it, it would take me like all day. Now, because of all these shortcuts and little things, and I've known how to multitask, um, I would say when I do a full thing, it's like maybe 2 hours, but that includes cleanup. So I could easily do an hour for like basics, right? But if you think about 2 hours on a Sunday or whatever day works for you, that's taking away, essentially, it's giving you back that half hour to 45 minutes to an hour after work of cook time. If you times a half hour for the whole week, that's the 2 hours. So you're not spending any more time cooking. You're just isolating it to one day instead of each day after work. And now you just get to come home, reheat your food, eat, and do whatever else you need to do for your night. So that's a helpful way to look at it too, right? In terms of what I do, what you asked, Debbie, was I do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But dinner, I will say with a caveat, is we have stuff. I do a lot of double batch cooking and I put it in the freezer. So I'll just pull out the chili, or I'll pull out the egg roll in a bowl, or meatloaf, or the chicken, or meatballs. Sometimes, like if it's a salmon night, because we tend to eat salmon every week because we both love it.
I
So
love
it's,
salmon. Mm.
yeah, it's so good. So salmon night will be, I do cook the salmon fresh that night. Again, it's just 400 in the oven, 12 minutes, but I'll piecemeal it with a side that I have from the freezer. So if it's frozen broccoli, and I make a version of rice pilaf, a gluten-free version of rice pilaf, and I'll put that with it. So, or we'll have gluten-free gnocchi or something like that, something quick. So dinner is pretty much like done in 20 minutes. So there are nights like that too, but the breakfast and lunch all already cooked, already prepped, already packaged, and I just reheat at work, and that's it.
And for those of you who weren't on this before we started recording, what April and I were talking about, and of course you weren't on it because it was just April and I, but one of the things that we talked about was trying to find what we love to do with our time. You know, we don't want to think about weight loss all of the time. What
Mhm,
else do we like to do? And
mhm,
like April said, this food prepping isn't taking away, it's not taking away time you would have spent, but it's giving you back time. When you get home from work, you're exhausted, you don't feel like cooking, and it would
mhm.
be so easy to go out to eat instead. Like you've got this great meal already planned. You get to come home from work and be tired and know your meal is done and you can relax and enjoy that time. So you're by spending that Sunday, you're gifting yourself rest and ready to enjoy just relaxing after a long work day. And I think we also talked about all the thoughts that we believe because somebody else taught us it before we were able to know. And you were talking about the eggs and how long you keep them for a leftover.
Yeah.
And I think I remember growing up, my mom saying, you can't save things for more than 2 or 3 days or you're going to get sick. But I also think that's what they learned. And as we've gotten older, like refrigeration is better, right? So we can keep leftovers longer than, people told us or we think that we can. Because I remember we used to throw everything out after 2 or 3 days because that's what my mom told us we did. And, now I eat things 4 or 5 days. So, and I'm okay and you're okay.
Yeah. And there's ways to like, I like to have snack of, I love red peppers. I like the red, orange, yellow. I like all peppers.
Yeah.
So I'll pre-cut them. I will put them in, if I have a glass container, that's ideal. But if I have just a Tupperware, I always put a paper towel or a piece of paper towel in there with it. And that will
Yeah.
keep it absorbs whatever condensation might form. So that keeps it fresh for the week as well. My vegetables are always still fresh and crispy on Friday for snacking. Cucumbers, they do really well with that. If you're putting a pre-made salad, put in a little piece of paper towel in with your lettuce and your salad. That will help it with the moisture that creates it too. That's another tip.
So when you started meal prepping in the very beginning, before meal
Mhm.
prepping was a thing, say everybody should know April started it. It
Yeah.
started here. What have been like the top 5 things that you have learned that either have increased, and I know you've mentioned some, but your favorite things that you've learned to either shorten the time or preserve, like like putting the wet paper towel in, like
Yeah. Yeah.
the big 5, I guess.
So I'm going to make it 6 because
Okay, 6.
the one thing I want to say first before anything is food prep. The thing I learned is that it is the best gift I give myself every week. The weeks I do not do it or have not done it, because now it's very far few between that I don't, but the weeks that I had not done it for some reason, those weeks were so much more difficult, not only just after work, but staying on my health journey. It just, I just didn't. I definitely ate out more each week that I didn't prep. It definitely, I always saw an impact on my weight loss. So that's my number one thing I'm going to say about that. But in terms of tips, I will say that the biggest ones would be finding the foods I liked. One, I would say finding foods I liked and thinking about the easiest way to make them. So I mentioned the broccoli and cauliflower thing because I love vegetables. Even as a kid, I was a big vegetable person. So vegetables are big for me. But if you like a lot of vegetables and a lot of variety like I do, it's a lot of time chopping, prepping, washing, cooking, storing, because packaging takes up time too. um, and so I learned and I watched and I researched YouTube. Like I just went on the internet and looked at what other people were doing and took what worked for them and applied it to myself. And that tip of preheating the sheet pan, and putting the veg on after, that was amazing. Um, the other thing was the little egg dash steamer that makes cooking eggs. Multitasking easy was a big thing to learn. So like
Yeah.
while I could get that little dash, and it's not much, it might be $25 now. I'm not sure how much it is, but cracking the eggs, that takes maybe like 5 minutes, right? And I get to flip a switch and walk away, and it takes about 12 to 15 minutes for them to cook from memory. And during that 15 minutes, I would then chop up my veg. Like multitasking while something else is cooking is a very big help in terms of food prep. And it doesn't have to be hard multitasking. I'm not thinking about those eggs. I'm just cutting up my stuff. The dinger goes off so I don't forget about them. Um, that's the next thing I'm going to say is 3 is set timers, multiple timers. Use the Echo that you have in your house. I don't want to say her name because she'll respond. Use your phone, use the oven, multiple timers. Do not forget to set timers because you will inevitably forget about something that you're cooking. That's a big one. Um, and I would say, so that's 3. So 4, I've gotten to the point, and it depends again where you are, but over the course of time, I've gotten to the point where I've collected all these cooking tools, helpful little my little army men of cookers for me. So I have the egg cooker, I have Instant Pot, I have an air fryer, I have the oven. I utilize all of them at the same time. So they're within the hour, everybody's cooking something. I'm not the only one cooking, right? And I would say for 5, if you are chopping vegetables, that would be the first thing to do. I personally I love vegetables, but I'm not a huge fan of having to wash them all and cut them all, and it's a process. So I would say if you're cutting veg, if you're doing that, I would do them all there. So you're not stopping, starting, stopping, starting, right? Streamline
Yeah,
if you're doing one thing. So I think those would be my top 5. I think I did 5.
they are. And I will tell you, I am the most excited about the frozen vegetable one because Kevin and I buy fresh vegetables all the time. Fresh vegetables are amazing, but sometimes we don't eat them quick enough, right? And this just makes it's so easy. And I did look while you were speaking. The egg dash is 19.99
Oh, there you
online.
go.
So
Nice.
I mean yeah, that is a quick, easy thing. So I know there will be far more questions on your meal prep. I know we could do more episodes, and maybe it should be something that we do, a little spot every episode. But are you already done meal prepping today? I forget. Oh yeah, because we are in the afternoon.
There is
Oh, you're
no
right.
meal
That's
prep
right.
because we are going to Disney.
That's right. I forgot all about that. But I think next time you meal prep, it might be fun for, if you think of it, to take some pictures just so we can kind of see the process
Yeah.
and and if anybody else is meal prepping this week or you decide to meal prep based on some great tips Angela has given, we'd love to see what you're doing, and don't judge yourself. You're starting. If you've never done it, or if you're a pro like she is, share whatever because your meal prepping could inspire somebody else's meal
Yeah,
prep.
absolutely. It's different ideas. And that's the whole thing, especially if people meal prep, like share the ideas, all the ideas, because somebody might do something different and find it easier. And if you share that, that's how it goes to other people, right? It's been years. I've been, like I said, it's 15 plus years I've been meal prep. I can't even remember how old I was when I started it. And it's thankfully nowhere near what it was, but I've learned the freezing of food. I would say that's another tip too. Like some people don't like leftovers. I totally get that. If that is an issue that you have, it might be trickier. And then you would just want to start just with maybe having fresh veg cut up. So that way, when you are cooking, you can just grab your onion and your pepper from the fridge. It's already cut and you cook it. That's cool too. I also invite you to try leftovers again in your own way, right? So, like, start with something that's super forgiving, like a chili or a soup. If you freeze that, it's really going to taste the exact same. And heat it up on the stove. Don't heat it in the microwave. That's another dish tip that can be different for people. That might help with how it tastes. Excuse me.
And, I am so glad that you brought that up because I actually wrote it down to bring it up too. Because you know what? I'm 56 years old and I did not grow up in the most pleasing environment to grow up in. And like, plastic wrap or Tupperware containers or any of that. None of it was used, right? So my sister-in-law once shared with me, I think you do not like milk because when you grew up, there was never a cap put on the milk. So like it and she's right. Now I drink milk because it does taste completely different. And leftovers, like, did our parents nuke the leftovers, in the microwave so they were dry and they were different? Were they not covered? Like, give it
Yeah.
another chance because leftovers, I think, have just gotten kind of a bad rap, and leftovers are better than you think. Just
Yeah. I,
like
yeah.
dip your toe in the water and try them.
Yes. 100%. I love how you said it too. It's try it again, dip your toe in, like Debbie said. And I definitely think heating things up on the stove, reheating them on the stove or the oven versus the microwave will definitely help out. And if you're reheating in the oven, cover it, maybe add a little broth in there so it steams instead of just cooks off. But there's ways to make it not taste like a leftover the next time.
Yeah. And I also, this just popped into my head. How many of us go out to eat and bring leftovers home or bring pizza home? We have no problem eating
Mhm.
those, do we? Right.
Mhm.
So we do like leftovers, right? Just maybe we
Yeah.
don't want to think we do at home.
True.
Yeah. Well, I learned a lot. I've got my notes and we're heading to the grocery store. So I'm going to look in the frozen section for some vegetables that we can
Nice.
put on the cookie sheet.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for joining in again this week. If you have questions or comments or anything you want to share, email us at April and Debbie dishthetruth@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're on Facebook and YouTube and all the places. So check in. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And from my heart to your journey, keep blooming.
And as always, remember to wake up willing to do something that feels good to you.
Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.